Hi, Rob here. Welcome to the writing course and the grammar section. This lesson is super important. It's about comparing and contrasting. So this is something you need to do in both the writing and the speaking for a number of reasons. Because, for example, in the speaking, we're often asked about, we compare our own country, for example, and whichever country you're in or you're going to. Same in the writing, especially in Task 1 Academic. You need this. It's not a choice. The question says make comparisons where relevant, so you have to do it. And also, it will give you a higher score in grammar. Okay. We're going to look at what they are, why you need them, and when you need them. There's two parts to this, so we're going to do the basics first, and then we'll do the advanced comparatives next. So when we use a comparative, we're making a complex structure. And remember, for a band 7 and above, you need a variety of these. So, and here's some examples. People became happier, the numbers grew more and more. Kids nowadays are less polite than they used to be, or kids nowadays are not as polite as they used to be. So there's different ways to compare things, and some of them have slightly different meanings. So we will talk about these. Just a reminder here, look, a variety of complex structures for a 7, a wide range of structures for a 9, and a wide range for a 9 and an 8, sorry. The only difference in a 9 is full flexibility and accuracy. So, but don't worry about that. That's not for you to worry about. So when we compare and contrast, we use comparative structures and adverb clauses of contrast. When you contrast ideas, so compare, means what is the same, contrast, what is different. So sometimes they are similar ideas, but we certainly need to contrast ideas in the task 2 writing. This will help you develop your position better. I will give you some examples in here, but you must be able to do that. In the Task 1 academic writing, you need to compare. There's no choice here. You must do it. If you don't do it, you're not answering the question. And most people do not answer the question. So learn how to do this. It will help you a lot. And as I've said, as you can see, higher grammar score. So you should contrast 2. As I mentioned, we need them for band 7 and above, but that's on the grammar. But on the task response, so how well do you answer the question, you must acknowledge both sides of the argument. So even if the question is an opinion essay, that you don't have a mixed opinion, you agree. Even in this situation, you must acknowledge, which means mention or say that it exists. You must show that you know there are two sides to the argument. Here's an example. Although students in mixed schools spend more time with the opposite gender, those educated in single-sex schools are actually better socialised. Most people disagree with that opinion, by the way, but that's up to them. So you can see here I'm saying that, I'm contrasting. I'm saying I can see what the other side says, but actually, in my opinion, the opposite is true. While some say that the youth are not as polite as they used to be, the older generations have always complained about this. So this is essential. Now let's look at this. I mentioned it. Have a look here. I think, I've highlighted it. Good. Make comparisons where relevant. Well, look at this task. It's always relevant. That's what the question is. It's a comparison. That's what the graph is. It's a comparison of what types of energy are consumed in the United States. So it's absolutely essential. Everything we talk about here is going to help you to answer that. What most people do in here is they simply describe. So they say petrol and oil does this, coal and natural gas does this, and the other three do that. That's not the question. The question says summarize and compare. Okay, so if you just describe, you're a band 5, which is no good to anyone. Not in academic anyway. So this is for both grammar and task achievement. For example, although nuclear, solar, wind and hydropower start at a similar point, or comparison, at about 4 quadrillion units, their consumption differs by the end of the period. Differ is the verb of different. Also notice here, their consumption means the consumption of nuclear, solar, wind and hydropower. Okay, so that's the goal in here, compare. I hope that's clear. So then we've got comparatives and superlatives. So we use comparatives and superlatives to compare people, places and things. And it is both adjectives and adverbs. A lot of people think it's just adjectives, but it's not, it's adverbs as well. And all of the adjectives and adverbs have 3 forms. They've got the positive, the comparative and superlative. So noisy, noisier, noisiest. Beautiful, more beautiful, most beautiful. Quiet, quieter, quietest. Careful, more careful, most careful. Hard, harder, hardest. Slow, slower, slowest. Nicely, nicer, nicest. Peacefully, more peaceful, most peaceful. So you can see here there's different types. There's ER, and then you can add ER or more. Now there are particular rules about this, which we will talk about next. So the positive form is the base form, and we can add ER, or more or less, or EST, or most or least. So don't forget the negatives as well, less and least. A lot of people learn this, so I'm probably just reinforcing, I'm supporting what you've already learned. So here are the rules. If the adjective, positive adjective or adverb is 1 syllable, so 1 beat, hot, small, cold, we add ER or EST. Hot, hotter, hottest, small, smaller, smallest, cold, colder, coldest. For example, summer is hotter in Australia than in England. The desert is the hottest place. So a superlative, a comparative compares 2 people, places or things. A superlative compares 1 with all of the others. He's the best, okay, which means he's the number 1, right? Comparing him to all of the others. Or he's the best in the class. So comparing him or her with whoever is in the class. So 1 syllable, ER, EST. 2 syllables ending in Y, LY, ER, LE or OW, we do the same, ER or EST. Slowly, slowest, slowest. Clever, cleverer, cleverest. Early, earlier, earliest. Narrow, narrower, narrowest. Gentle, gentler, gentlest. So you'll notice with the LYs that a lot of so that there's quite a few with LY. But if they're 2 syllable words ending in LY, ER, LE or OW, can be used with either ES, ER or EST or more or most. The traffic is much slower these days. I need to get up earlier to do some exercise. She's the cleverest in the class. So all this information can be a little bit confusing, so just try and relax and notice it and see it when you notice a comparative or superlative. Okay. Then we've got all the other 2 syllables and 3 syllables and more adverbs and adjectives, we add more, less, most, or least. Beautiful, more beautiful. Boring, less boring. Wonderful, more wonderful. Remember participles. So remember that a participle is when we take a verb and we change it to an adjective by adding ed or ing. Ed is the past participle, ing is the present participle. So with all of these, we're going to use more or less, most or least. My wife becomes more beautiful every day. True. It is the most expensive restaurant in town. Okay, so it's about the number of syllables. One syllable, E-R-E-S-T. Some two syllables, E-R-E-S-T, some more, most. More than two syllables, always more or most. Okay. Then we've got the irregular forms. So these don't follow that rule. So regular means they follow that rule. Irregular, they have their own. They're unique. So good, better, best. Well, better, best. Bad, worse, worst. Badly, worse, worst. So we've got the adjective good and the adverb well. Adjective bad, adverb badly. Old, elder, eldest. And sorry, we can also have older and oldest. But elder, we just use elder when we add a person, a relative in your family. So this is my older sister, is okay. This is my elder sister, okay. But I am older than Paul is correct. I am elder than Paul, incorrect. So elder sister, elder aunt, elder uncle, etc. Far, then we've got far, farther, further, and farther, furthest. Now, both of these mean distance. So far means distance, right? Farther means distance, further means distance, but further also means more. So for example, can you give me any further information? Means any more information. Late, later, last, not latest. So a student comes on time, good. Another student comes later, so later than the one before. And then another student comes and they are last. There's three students, they're last. Not latest. Latest means the most new. For example, I have the latest iPhone. I have the latest motorbike, which is true. And then we've got much, more, and most. Many, more, and most. So much is for uncountable nouns. For example, I don't have much money in my pocket. I have more money in my pocket today than yesterday. Tomorrow I will have the most money in my pocket. Whereas many is countable nouns. I have many pencils. Today I have more pencils than yesterday. Tomorrow I will have the most pencils. So much plus uncountable, many plus countable. Little is uncountable. I have little money in my pocket. I have less money in my pocket than yesterday. Today I have the least amount of money, the least money in my pocket than the rest of the week, compared to the rest of the week. Okay, so those are irregular. All right. And here is exactly what I've just said. So take a moment to read that and you can see what I mean. Rob is Andrew's elder brother. Distance. So pause the video, read that for a moment, okay? Also, we need to know the same as, the same something as. For example, So this is important, as you can see, for task 1 writing. The figures in 2010 were the same as in 1993. I have the same music taste as James. And then we've got similar to. My sister is similar to me. Lucky girl. The percentages were similar to the previous year. Okay. So the same as, similar to. Okay. That's it for now. That's part 1. That's the beginning. In part 2, we're going to look at the advanced comparatives, which is super exciting. And I will see you there shortly. Have a great day. Thanks for watching.